So good morning guys, I hope you guys can see me and hear me properly, and I see a lot of people are here. Let me just refresh the comments on my phone so that I can see your comments. Till then, if you could just let me know that if everything is fine with the tech and you can hear me and see me properly, and we can go ahead with the session. Okay, so I see a lot of people here. Hi Manya, good morning Nilesh, hi Saurabh. So there is Shanmukh, Priyadarshini, Shivani, Yogesh Kumar, Akash. So hello to you all. Okay, so I see thumbs up flashing up. So Rucha says that everything is fine. Even Ayush and Bharat say that. So I think we can go ahead with the session without any problem in tech, right? So let's begin with it. Okay, so I hope you can see the screen properly and it is properly visible to you. Okay, so once again a very good morning to you guys. As you all know, my name is Mansi Anand and I'm your mentor for RBI Grade B examination. So guys, in these sessions we discuss some questions, and with the help of those questions we try to gain knowledge and understand some concepts regarding the economy, right? So let's not waste any time and move straight away to question number 1. And before doing that, I would like to ask you guys to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press this bell icon which is flashing on the screen. It can help you to stay in touch with us and can provide you access to a lot of content which can help you to prepare for your exams, right? So let's begin with today's session, and here is your question number 1 for today. This question talks about pipe deals. So pipe deals are a way for companies to raise a large amount of money quickly. What is the full form of pipe here? So let's see who answers correctly. Let me just refresh the comments. So I'll give you few seconds to interpret the question, and then we'll see who will answer correctly. Saurav has a question about the yesterday topic, all inclusive direction, that we studied yesterday. So Saurav, it is different from SLR. SLR is statutory liquid ratio, the amount of securities which banks have to hold in a liquid form so that they can be converted into cash quickly, right? So that is SLR. But under all inclusive directions, it means that the bank is under the guidance of RBI, and whatever RBI says that bank would have to follow. If RBI says don't pay the interest, or don't fulfill your liabilities, don't spend cash, don't make the outflow of cash, it will have to follow, right? Okay, so there are a lot of answers. Yogesh says C, Ayush says B, Karthik says D, Samuel says C. So I think there are a lot of answers, and there is a lot of variety in your answers. I see some votes for D, but still there is a lot of variety. So let's move ahead to the solution for this question, and the correct option is option number D, which says private investment in public equity. This is known as pipe deals. So what are these pipe deals and how do they work? So as you can guess from its name in itself, private investment in public equity. So there is a company having public equity, there is a public company and it is having some equity and private investment. Private investors are putting money into it, that is known as a pipe deal. So as you can see here, it is when a private investor like a mutual fund or a large institution. So here this private investment is not talking about the retail investors. This private investment refers to large institutions, large entities like mutual funds or other large institutions that buy a chunk of shares at below market price, right? So guys, these deals are nothing but just as a company offers shares in public, similarly in case of pipe deals, a company issues shares to a private investor without going public, without issuing an IPO. It just allots shares or issues share to a private investor, and not to a small retail investor, but a huge investor like a mutual fund or a large institution to raise quick money. So if the company would have gone to the method of launching an IPO and making a prospectus, registering with SEBI, so there are a lot of formalities associated with it. But if they have to issue shares to a private investor, then it is a lot quicker method to raise money, right? As you can see, to raise the money quickly. But they can be unpopular with existing shareholders because they dilute existing pool of shares and reduce its value. So whenever new shares are issued, the existing shareholders, they are not very happy because their share in profit gets reduced. That is why they do not want that shareholders should rise, the number of shareholders should rise, right? This benefit is from the point of view of investor, that they usually get the shares on a below market price. Why below market price? Because the company wants to raise funds quickly. That is why, to lure investors, to lure a private investor, they are trying to offer shares at a below market or a discounted price, right? And what are the limitations of these pipe deals? They dilute share value content. So this is not from the point of view of the company, but from the point of view of existing stockholders. So they think that their profit is going to be reduced. That is why they are not very happy when new shares are being issued to, especially to private investors, right? Next point says buyers limited to accredited investors. So there are limited numbers of buyers, there are limited numbers of large entities who would be interested in such deals. So in an IPO, you have a large pool of buyers who can subscribe to your stock, but here this does not happen. The number of buyers is limited. Discounted share price. So this point, which is an advantage for the investor, not an advantage for the company, because the company is issuing the share at a below market price. That is why it is a limitation for the company, that if it wants to have a pipe deal or it wants a private investor to invest, probably it would have to price its shares low in order to lure the investor. And potential need for shareholder approval. So when there is a lot of discontent among the existing shareholders, they need to be catered, they need to be consulted, and they need to be told that why do we need a private investment. So basically it is also important to take care of the existing investors simultaneously launching a pipe deal, right? So this is all about pipe deal. I hope we are clear and familiar with the beginning for pipe deals. So currently it has been in news that the number of pipe deals have been reducing in India due to the current situation, due to the outbreak of COVID-19. Private investors are not taking much interest in public equity, right? So that is why the number of these pipe deals that are taking place in the economy has been going down, right? Moving ahead. So here is our second question for today, and this question says, what is the investment threshold for domestic mobile phone companies for 4 years under the production linked incentive scheme? So if a domestic mobile phone manufacturing company, it wants to invest, it wants to avail the benefit of a production linked incentive scheme, what is the investment threshold for this for 4 years? So do look at the period for 4 years, right? So let's see who answers correctly. So guys, pipe deal is nothing but just putting of private money into a public company which is traded publicly, a company which has gone public. If a private investor, and especially a large investor like a mutual fund or large institution, puts money into this public company, and this public company raises funds through this investor without have to go through the process of issuing an IPO, going for prospectus, and all those formalities related with issuing money from public. Here the public entity is not raising money from the public but from a private investor, right? And these deals have their pros and cons, which are very easy to understand, I guess. So a lot of answers. Himanshu says D, 1000 crore. So I see a lot of answers. Vartika says D, 1000 crores. Durga Prasad says D, Ankur says D, Rucha says A, 200 crores. Manya says 1000 crores. Nilesh says 1000 crores. Right? So I think we should move ahead to look at the solution. And the solution says A. Okay. So guys, here this question talks about the threshold for domestic mobile phone companies, and this threshold is 200 crores for 4 years, right, under the production linked incentive scheme. So look at the question carefully. It is talking about domestic mobile phone manufacturing companies, right? So here we are going to study about production linked incentive scheme. The correct option is A. So all those of you who answered as A, you guys are absolutely right. So government on April 1 notified 3 schemes involving a total incentive of around 48,000 crore to boost the local electronics manufacturing and create 20 lakh direct and indirect jobs by 2025. So guys, this scheme was launched and is being seen as one of the incentives to, as you must be knowing, that government is trying to pull the investments from China. So since the outbreak of COVID-19, many companies, they are reluctant to work in China and they want to move their supply chains from their production units from there. So they are looking at some other countries which have the similar benefits that China provides, like cheap labor. So India is one of them, and that is why India is trying to attract such investment by providing as much as production incentive schemes they can come up with, right? So similar is the production linked incentive scheme, and it said that it specifically for companies who make phones priced at 15,000 and above. So all those companies who are manufacturing phones which are valued as 15,000 and above, this scheme is valid for them. And these companies, and out of these companies, whoever will invest, make a cumulative investment of 1000 crore in India over 4 years. So it can start with 250 crore in first year, will get a production incentive of 6% in the first 2 years, followed by 5% for the next 2 and 4% in the 5th year. So this scheme provides a production incentive in the range of 6 to 4%. 6% for first 2 years, 5% for the next 2 and 4% for the 5 years. So basically it is providing benefit for 5 years, but the condition is that the company will have to make an investment of 1000 crore and it should make mobile phones which are priced 15,000 and above. And this investment should, and in the first year it should make the investment of 250 crores itself, right? So this is the condition. Now understanding for domestic companies. For domestic mobile companies, this investment threshold is 200 crore over 4 years. So what is 1000 crore for rest of the companies? For domestic mobile phone makers, it is 200 crores. And the sales criteria is 5,000 crores in 5 years, that they have to make 5,000 crore sales in a sale worth of rupees 5,000 crore in 5 years, right? And for components, so if there is a domestic company which is engaged in making mobile phone components, for it the investment threshold is 100 crore for 4 years. So if it makes an investment of 100 crore, a cumulative investment over the span of 4 years, they would be eligible for getting the production linked incentive, and 600 crores of sale in 5 years, right? So these are two conditions. First of all, for domestic mobile phone makers, and second for domestic mobile phone component maker, right? This scheme will be applicable from 1st August and initially be open for 4 months. So, and the other two schemes are Electronic Manufacturing 2.0 and Scheme for Promotion of Manufacturing of Electronics Components and Semiconductors. So these are the other two schemes. So government has come up with a total of 3 schemes: PLI, EMS and SPECS, right? So I hope now we are clear with this. what incentives are provided under the production incentive scheme. And we can move ahead to the next question for today. And question number 3 for today, it says the government has extended the deadline for submitting bids for Air India Limited to dash. So this deadline has been extended and you have to tell what is the new deadline. Let's see who answers correctly. So Chaitali is asking that what exactly is included in this production incentives. So Chaitali, I've tried to find out and I looked at the PDF. I didn't actually find out that what is the nature of these incentives. So I don't. So I think I'll update you as soon as any notification comes or as soon as I get any information regarding that. So a lot of answers have start to flash up. Soham says E, Karthik says B, 30 August. Vishal Singh says E, Samuel says E. Some more E's. Ankur says C, 31st March 2021. Vartika says E. Yogesh Kumar says 31st September 2020. Some more E's. So I see a lot of variety in your answer, guys. So it's a very simple question, nothing much to understand about it. Just a factual question which asks you the extended deadline for submitting bids for AIL. So the correct option is E. So all those of you who answered as E, you guys are absolutely right. The new deadline is 30 June 2020. So the earlier deadline was 30 April 2020 and it was extended to 30 June. So this deadline is for submitting the expression of interest. Now understand what is this expression of interest. This expression of interest, it is an informal offer made by a strategic or financial buyer for the purchase of a business. So very simple, if there is a buyer and that buyer wants to purchase a business, he has to submit an offer, an informal offer that yes, I am interested to buy this business. This is known as expression of interest. So previously when Jet Airways was put up to bid, many companies they showed their expression of interest in buying Jet, but after that the deal didn't take place. So basically it is used whenever a company is put up for buying, right? So the buyer submits a proposal which is known as expression of interest. The primary purpose is to suggest a valuation range, that the buyer is telling the seller that see, I have this much range, I'll be able to buy this business within this particular range, right? So this deadline is for submission of expressions of interest by all those buyers who are interested in this deal. So why were these changes made? These changes were made because there were a lot of requests from interested bidders that please extend the deadline. But as they were facing problems due to the outbreak of COVID-19 and the extended lockdown, that is why this deadline has been pushed, right? So government, which aims to sell its entire stake in Air India, had in January begun the stake sale process by inviting offers from the potential investors. So government invited potential investors, and after a costly turnaround plan, an earlier effort to sell a controlling stake in the flag carrier failed. So earlier attempts have been also made to sell Air India, but this has not been possible till now. And to make this scheme more attractive to buyers, the center has reduced Air India's debt from 56,000 crores to 23,000 crores, right? So a very simple answer, I guess, not much to learn about here, just to understand the financial conditions of Air India and what is the meaning of expression of interest, right? So we can move ahead to the next question for today. And before moving to question number 4, I would like to ask you guys to join our Telegram group. On this group, you can post all your doubts and queries and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible, right? And anyhow, if you have doubts, you can always mention in the comments on the videos. Guys, I might take some time to answer these questions because I can answer them as much as I have time. So there can be time constraints, so don't get disheartened. Do post your comments. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. So here is your 4th question for today, and it says the dash was established by BRICS countries in 2014 to mobilize resources for infrastructure and sustainable development projects in BRICS. So you have to tell which entity is responsible for mobilizing the resources for the projects that BRICS countries come up with. So let's see who answers correctly. Let's wait for some answers. Let me just refresh the comments. Okay. So I see a lot of answers flashing up. So most of you are saying C is the correct answer. That is the New Development Bank. So a lot of votes for C. So since all of you are saying C, I think let's not waste time on this question and move straight away to the correct answer, and the correct answer is obviously C. So New Development Bank is the entity which does the work of mobilizing the resources for the development projects that BRICS come up with, right? So here you can see recently BRICS countries, their heads met and they decided to allocate rupees 15 billion dollars towards setting up of a special loan instrument to facilitate the rebuilding of their economies ravaged by the novel coronavirus pandemic. So they have decided for a fund that would be provided to help these economies which have been destructed by coronavirus. So Finance Minister Sitaraman, when she attended the conference of Board of Governors of NDB through a video conference, she suggested that NDB should establish a $10 billion fund to help member countries to fight COVID-19. So I hope you guys know that which are the countries which are part of this BRICS organization. So there are 5 countries. I hope most of us are familiar with them. And could anyone let me know that where is the headquarter of NDB? Yes, where is the headquarter of NDB, the New Development Bank? Let's see. So Pankaj is absolutely right. V. Kamath is the president of NDB and Rucha is absolutely right. Shanghai in China is the headquarters of NDB, right? So it's good that you guys are aware about these things. So whenever you study about an organization, try to remember these little details about these organizations which can be really helpful to you, right? So NDB fast tracked the financial assistance of about $5 billion to BRICS countries, including an emergency assistance of $1 billion to combat the COVID pandemic in India. And as we yesterday read about the assistance that ADB is providing to India, the loan of $1.5 billion. So all those things are going to be mobilized with the help of NDB. And so the purpose of this bank is to mobilize the projects which BRICS comes up with and other emerging markets, economies and development countries in BRICS to complement the existing effort of multilateral and regional financing institution for global growth and development, right? So a very simple question about NDB. So here we have learned about what NDB does when it was established and the headquarters. And could anyone let me know that which are the countries who are part of BRICS? So there are 5 countries. So let's see who tells the name of the 5 countries involved in BRICS, the member nations. Let me just refresh the comments. So till you guys answer, let's move on to the next question. Until then, you can mention the countries which are part of BRICS organization. Okay. So question number 5th, it says Fitch on April 30 lowered the ratings of 4 banks citing COVID. Select the bank which is not one of these banks. So select the bank whose rating was not lowered by Fitch ratings. So let's see who answers correctly. So I see the name of countries flashing up. So you guys are absolutely right. Rucha says Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. So these are the 5 countries, right? So guys, now I hope the last question is visible to you and I'm waiting for your answers. So this question talks about the ratings, the viability ratings that Fitch provides to different countries, to different entities, and it recently lowered the ratings of 4 Indian banks. So you have to tell which one of the following is not one of these 4 banks whose ratings has been lowered by Fitch. So Ankur Agarwal says D, that is Punjab National Bank. Let's wait for some more answers. Till then I'll just refresh. Okay, so a lot of answers. So Chaitanya says A, SBI, Samuel says SBI, Ankur says D, Nayan says PNB, Harshal says A, Devadarshini says D, Nitesh says D, Manya says A, Shivani says D. So I see a lot of variety in your answers, some inclination towards D, that is PNB, but a lot of variety in your answers. So I think we should straight away move to the answer for this question. The correct solution for this question is option D. So PNB is not one of the bank whose rating has been lowered. So all these 4 banks, SBI, ICICI Bank, Baroda and Axis. So these 4 banks, their ratings have been lowered. As you can see here, Fitch downgraded the viability ratings. And what are these viability ratings? Viability ratings are designed to be internationally comparable and represent Fitch's view as to the intrinsic credit worthiness of the issuer. So if there is a lender or if there is an issuer, so Fitch tries to analyze the credit worthiness of a particular issuer, whether it will be able to honor its payments or not, or how much is the probability that this particular entity would be able to honor its payments, right? So these viability ratings, they define or represent Fitch's view regarding this intrinsic credit worthiness of the issuer, which has recently been lowered for 4 Indian banks. So together with the agency's support rating framework, VR is a key component of a bank's issuer's default rating, right? So here you can see viability ratings of SBI, ICICI, Axis were lowered to BB, and for BOB it was revised to BB minus, right? And rating agency said that SBI's VR downgrade reflects the heightened risk that weakening asset quality will pose to its less than satisfactory loss absorption buffers. So Fitch says that SBI is not having enough buffers to suffer losses or to back losses that it can suffer in the recent future. So it lowered the operating environment score for Indian banks from BB plus in March to BB while maintaining a negative outlook. So here you can see negative outlook due to uncertainty surrounding the severity and duration of the pandemic. So most of the questions that we discuss or most of the actions that we discuss, that are majorly because of the pandemic. So guys, I would like to tell you that this is a very good time to monitor the economy. It's not a particularly good time for the economy itself, but a good time for the students of economy, because you can monitor what things are being happened. So whatever the measures are being taken by RBI, be it Operation Twist, LTRO, these are not the things which we study in theory. So that is why we are going to learn about these things only through newspapers or through news articles, right? So that is why you can see how RBI molds the conventional tools available to it to counter the situation which is present in the economy, right? So it's a good time. Do try to study the trends and analysis and all the decisions that that RBI comes up with. So recently RBI it is a prospect that RBI can follow Fed in creating a special purpose vehicle to counter this problem of RBI's liquidity not reaching the lower sections of the economy, right? So in the coming lectures we can discuss about how this SPV model is going to work. Although I would like to tell you that it would be better if you study some things about it or have a background knowledge about it, what decision was taken by Fed, so that it will be easier for you to understand. So do remember that this is just a proposed model and there are no technical details available regarding this. It is just proposed, so just try to give it a read so that you can understand what changes RBI makes to conventional tools, right? So these were the 5 questions for today, and I hope you got to learn something new from these questions. And if you did, then don't forget to hit the like button. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time at 9 a.m. with some more set of questions, and we'll try to figure out some more concepts, right? So that's all for today, and see you all tomorrow. Thank you for being here and have a nice day.